You know those moments of panic on a dog walk when your dog spots something disgusting and you just know they're going to try to eat it? What if, instead of needing to Google, what should I do if my dog ate brown sidewalk sludge, you could just say, leave it,
Here, leave it,
and your dog actually listened? That's what this video is going to teach, how to train your dog an advanced leave it skill that actually works on walks.
Yes.
True story. Years ago, my dog Nira ate a Band-Aid on a walk. It wasn't even my Band-Aid, it was somebody else's. That feels like an important detail.
More like a full-body dry heave. Set the music.
As I was dry heaving on the sidewalk, it was one of those motivationally low moments in your life when you decide that something really needs to change.
I can't do that again.
I'd already taught Nira to leave it at home, the common way where she's sitting politely and we're practicing with treats. She was really good at it, and she could even resist steak being thrown at her from a distance. That's a great foundational way of teaching the leave it skill, but out on walks, it completely fell apart. Why? With that common beginner level of leave it training, the dog only learns to leave it in one context, while stationary and quite close to you.
Yes.
But out on walks, everything changes. Your dog's already moving, they're a bit distracted, they're often not right beside you, and the world is full of irresistible treasures such as Band-Aids and mystery sludge. So our goal is to generalize that leave it cue so that your dog responds instantly to it, no matter what's in front of them or how far away they might be. By preventing your dog from eating things that are unsafe for them, this training can actually save your dog's life.
Yes.
In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating with two dogs, my dog Nira and my client Gus. When I met Gus, he had zero impulse control, so this training was a top priority. If Gus could learn to leave temptations alone, so can your dog. Let me know in the comments what's the grossest thing that your dog has ever eaten on a walk. And then let's do this training. Before we start, there are two things that your dog should already know. First, a loaded marker word. A marker word is a word like yes that promises the reward at the exact moment that your dog does something right.
Yes.
A marker word builds clarity and it speeds up training, especially during skills like this where we will be training at a distance. If you haven't loaded a marker word with your dog, I've linked a tutorial for that down in the video description. And two, they already need to know a beginner leave it cue. That means that your dog can already reliably leave items alone when they're stationary. If they can't do that yet, then start with my beginner leave it training video featuring Gus, which I've also linked below. Now, my training secret. When training at a distance, the hardest part is preventing your dog from self-rewarding. If they ignore that leave it cue and they get the item, then they just self-reinforce the very behavior that we don't want. That's where my secret training tool comes in, containers with air holes. This is so simple, but it works like magic. The containers let out the smell, but they keep the food safe inside so that your dog can't self-reward. To make your own, just take some old takeout containers and just drill or poke holes in the lid. If you instead just want to buy something, then a produce saver container works well too. So, what are you going to put in these containers? This is advanced training, so we're going to progress the difficulty gradually. Think of it kind of like a video game where each level is going to get a little bit harder. But here's the golden rule. During training, the reward should always be higher value than whatever is in that container. Something's value just means how enticing it is and how hard your dog would work to get it. Using a higher value reward reinforces that listening to you when you say leave it means they'll get something even better from you. Let's walk through a few examples. If I fill the container with lettuce, which is super easy for most dogs to ignore and therefore a great option to start with, I could reward with kibble. If I fill the next container with kibble, I might reward with something even tastier like beef liver treats. And when the dog is getting really good at this training, then I could load the container with liver treats, which are very tempting, and reward with something even higher value, such as ground beef or cheese. The point I'm trying to make is that you need to create a clear reward ladder. As the temptation gets stronger, the reward from you needs to get even better. Repetitions of this, where your dog always gets something better, will make the skill hold up in the real world, even around amazing distractions later on. If you're not sure what counts as high or low value for your dog, I've linked a video in the description showing how to test your dog's food preferences. I did this with both Gus and Nira before starting this training. Knowing what your dog really values makes a big difference in how fast they'll learn and how solid this skill becomes. Now, let's train the advanced leave it skill. Step 1 is set up the training. Fill your first container with that low value item, such as lettuce or even kibble, depending on your dog's food drive. Place that container somewhere in your house and put your dog on a leash. You're going to walk your dog over to that container and cue them to leave it alone as soon as they show interest in it. Two things might happen. First, they do listen when you say leave it.
Leave it.
Yes!
Leave it. Yes.
Mark yes when your dog disengages from that container and reward them.
Leave it. Yes.
Then gradually let your dog get closer and closer to that container before you cue leave it.
Yes.
The second thing that might happen is they don't listen. What should you do then? Don't yank on the leash. Instead, just maintain the leash tension as you walk your hands up that leash and then lure them away with the reward. The beauty of using the containers is that your dog can't self-reward if they make a mistake. However, take this as a sign that the setup is too difficult for your dog's current abilities. Remember, successful repetitions is what builds reliability. If your dog wasn't successful, then just lower the difficulty by changing any of these 3 factors. First, you can use a less tempting item in that container. Second, increase the distance between your dog and the container when you cue leave it.
Leave it. Yes. Leave it.
And third, just make sure that you are standing closer to your dog.
Leave it. Yes. Gus, leave it. Yes.
If your dog is struggling with this training, then any of those 3 factors will help. If you're finding this video helpful, then check out the free guide that I've linked below. It walks you through the exact order that I teach all obedience skills and why, plus it includes a video tutorial for every one. Comment list please down below and I'll send you a link. Step 2 is level up the difficulty. Once your dog can sniff the container and they still disengage when you say leave it, then start practicing with higher value distractions and even better rewards. Just remember though that you do want your dog's leave it response to be immediate. No deliberation or thinking, just immediate disengagement. I encourage you to progress this training slowly so that you can keep that immediate response. And don't forget to reward voluntary disengagement too, especially when you get to those higher value containers. These are those moments where your dog ignores the container without being asked to. Those moments are amazing because ideally our dog just never pays attention to those gross sidewalk distractions.
Gus, leave it. Yes. Yes.
Once your dog can handle a high value container and you at a distance away, you're going to start making this like real life. How? Step 3 is remove the lids. In real life, the interesting things that your dog finds on walks won't have lids, so we need to practice for that. Proper dog training trains for the moment, not in the moment.
Yes.
Removing the lids and giving your dog access to what's inside is a lot harder for your dog to ignore, so I suggest that you start again with that low-value container and you close by to prevent accidental self-rewarding.
Leave it. Yes. Good boy.
And then progress to higher value items like you did in step 2. Once your dog is reliable with the high value lidless containers, then step 4 is take this training outside. I suggest starting this at a low distraction area such as your yard or a quiet field. Place the container outside.
Skills.
And then bring your dog out and practice just like before. In each new context, I do like starting with the easier distractions and the lids on to prevent self-rewarding while your dog learns to generalize this skill and then progress the difficulty.
Leave it. Yes. Let's dangerously do this. Leave it.
Then, when your dog is solid on that, take this training out on walks. It's helpful if you can ask a friend to join you and walk a little ways ahead of you and place those containers in secretly agreed upon spots so that your dog can stumble upon them just like a real distraction out on a walk. Every time your dog leaves it, mark in reward. And remember, every successful repetition builds a more reliable leave it cue.
Leave it.
That is how you build a leave it skill that works anywhere with anything your dog might find. Happy training. I'll see you in the next video.
Yes, good job.